In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone.
Welcome back to the show, Paul Amadeus Lane. This is the Tech Zone. Hope you're having a fantastic day. If you're not, hopefully after the show, we make you feel a little better talking about technology and maybe some hobbies that you got when it comes to technology and how it's helping you to enjoy that hobby even more. Many of you out there may be musicians. Maybe you're a garage band musician. That's what we used to call it back in the days. We used to practice in the garages and so forth. But now, the way technology is now, we are able to have the music experience, make it sound more professional. Some of the big pieces of equipment we used to use now are smaller due to technology. And my next guest is going to talk about what their company is doing to help meet this need when it comes to pro audio, and how the company has just released some of this great innovation. They had a chance to talk with them at NAMM 2019. So I wanted to invite them back on and delve in a little bit more about their technology that they showcased back then and what you can do with it. And I'm so happy to have with me right now from one of the awesome companies out there that I love to share my money with, because they have some great products out there that I like to use. Dan Boatman from IK Multimedia. He's the marketing and sales director. Dan, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. We're doing well, keeping busy here. Lots of follow-up after NAMM, but, I really appreciate you, taking time to have me on the show.
No, I appreciate it. I remember I first came in contact with the company probably about 6 years ago at CES, and just seeing how the company has grown over those years are amazing. Because me being a former musician, I enjoyed some of the products that you had out there, the digital products for the phones and everything is just amazing. So you guys have really been trendsetters when it comes to that. At this year's NAMM, what were you guys able to highlight out there to the fans and to the attendees?
Like you said, we've been very fortunate that we've been able to expand in this whole mobile market. We're really trying to make sure that no matter what your instrument or your genre or your style, we have products that will help you make music with your smartphone, with your tablet. So one of the things we wanted to do was show the range, because like you said, it has grown from just one little guitar interface to, at this point, 40 or 50 different products. I think it's just important for people to be able to see and get their hands on and try all the different things, whether it's keyboard controllers or being able to try out microphones or just, plugging a guitar in and hearing what our Amplitude app can do. So, a big focus on the show is always just letting people get their hands on these things and try them out. And just continuing to show the range that we've built. But we did have a couple of pretty cool new products. The micro amp, I think, the response has been great, and we're really excited. We're actually shipping that today, so I know people are really happy about that. And also expanding into some new markets. So
that's cool. I love it. And one thing I like about IK Multimedia is continuing to stay current when it comes to tech trends and putting this innovation in some of these products. And as a person who's just come on board recently, was that one of the draws that brought you to the company, just how innovative they are and on the cutting edge of things?
I actually have been with the company for about 12 years. So that was before all of the mobile stuff. And we were, I was attracted to them then because of what they were doing on the Mac PC side.
You know what, Dan? I'm gonna redo that question then, since I messed that up. So I'll go do that again. Sorry. All right. So Dan, you've been with the company for about 12 years, and so you've seen just things grow. And when you started 12 years ago to where you're at today, did you ever imagine this in your wildest dreams?
No. I started with the company, I think, right before the first iPhone came out. So this whole market didn't exist. And I remember we were contacted by Apple, and they were saying, you should really consider doing an app. And so we were one of the first companies to just kind of give it a try. And so we got to experience sort of firsthand the first wave of apps coming out. And then we did an app for the iPad as soon as it was actually available at launch. We were one of the few companies that got to do that. But just watching it snowball and how it's really transformed so many elements of our lives, but for a musician, for sure, this idea that you can now make music anywhere. I mean, professional quality music really easily. It's been way more than I ever expected. I think back to, learning an instrument back in the 90s, even before really making music on computers was a thing, how amazing computers were, and watching that whole transformation, and then seeing a whole new transformation with this mobile music happening in, probably twice the speed. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, but it's definitely been something that has moved very quickly.
You took me down memory lane, Dan. I remember when I first started. I was a trumpet player in elementary school, but then like my dad and them. It was keyboard, guitar, and then I picked that up, still in elementary school. Cool. So I remember the Fender Rhodes. I remember the Juno 60. I remember when my dad first bought our first DX7, and I was like, man, this is so cool. I remember preset number 12.
They really were.
Yes, preset number 12 was the bass line on Another Part of Me by Michael Jackson. Just throwing it out there. But and that's one of the things that I saw over the years. We started off recording on reel-to-reel. Then we went to using the sequencer. And now we're seeing a lot of digital things. I remember when Pro Tools first came out. And now being able to do this on your phone, on your device, all these different interfaces. Did it take some of the purists out there a long time to get down with this? Because I've always been in technology. So anything that came out that made me be able to record easier, I was always for it. But some of the purists out there are like, well, I don't know, it doesn't sound like blah, blah, blah. So talk about convincing the purists out there, because it seems like the majority of musicians are on board now.
Well, I think one of the things that has helped us is, IK has really always been about the gear. We don't say, hey, plug your guitar into your phone and you can make it sound like an amp. We have partnerships. We work specifically with Fender, Ampeg, Mesa Boogie, Orange, Soldano, some of the biggest guitar gear manufacturers in the world. So I think that helps convince some of the purists, some of the hardcore guys to say, we're not saying it's just as good. We're saying this is a very convenient way to have access to that sound when you don't have the luxury of bringing your half stack with you to the hotel room, or you can't bring a full size keyboard and plug it in on an airplane. So, I think people have responded to that. We were actually blown away by how some of the people that we expected to be very tough to get on board got on board immediately. One of our biggest endorsers for the Amplitude app and now for the iRig line of guitar products is actually Slash from Guns N' Roses' Velvet Revolver. And he uses his iRig all the time. He's constantly telling us about how he's using it to write songs on a bus, or he's using it to practice. So some of the people we thought would be the hardest sell got on board really immediately, and they were great evangelists. One guitar player would get involved, and then he would show his friends, and then it really sort of spread socially and virally more than us just spending millions in ad dollars. So it was really cool to watch that happen. Just guitar players seeing something really cool, the early adopters giving it a try, and then going to all their friends and just saying, hey, this is legit, you need to check it out.
I love it. It kind of reminds me of you remember the Well of Boston commercials? I told two friends, and so on and so on and so on.
Yep.
So now that is super cool. And I just want to give props out there, just some great products that you guys create, and just see how the company has grown over the years that I have known about it is simply amazing. And being able to see at NAMM just some of the great products that you guys have out there is simply amazing. And what was some of the feedback that ones shared with you at the NAMM show?
Yeah, well, this was an interesting NAMM for us because we talk about how fast this market has developed, and I think, and how people have gotten on board. And I think this was the first NAMM where we've also started to really bring some more professional, more sophisticated products to market. So we have our iRig Micro Amp, which is our first real serious amplifier. It's a portable amplifier. It plugs into your smartphone, so you can use it to record, to practice, to play. But that was a new market for us. It's a little bit more upmarket than we're used to. We came out with our first more serious recording interface, the AXIO, that's targeting a more professional musician. So one of the things that was really gratifying to us was to see that, customers have the faith in us to consider something that's, a higher price point, a more professional level of product. They're not seeing us as just a entry level, inexpensive interface or inexpensive keyboard. They're willing to trust that if we come out with a product that's more professional, that it does really deliver for the professional. So that was something that was really awesome for us to see how people responded to that stuff.
And that's cool. That's cool. And then when I went to the booth, I was just being nosy, checking out, everyone's response to it. And they were, your booth was packed, and you guys had a little demo room and everything, which was cool.
Yep.
And it's just some amazing things that you guys are doing to keep up the great work on. And I also want to give props to with the iClip products you guys make too.
Yeah.
I know as a journalist, we use that, when we do press rooms and when we don't want to lug the big 4K camera, we can use some of the other innovation that you have. And it's just amazing. So seeing these two sides of IK Multimedia and how you guys are really being trendsetters is just sort of amazing. And that's why I can speak on it, because being a consumer of it, from experience, I'm like, yeah, this is some good stuff. And if ones have ideas, let's say about a particular piece of innovation when it comes to maybe like a patch or something to put into some of the other apps that you guys have. How are you guys when it comes to feedback?
We love feedback from our customers. Musicians first. We have a very active team on social media. You can hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Welcome to write us. We have a forum on our site. We're constantly trying to talk with customers to figure out, what their needs are, what they want to see the stuff do that it doesn't do, so that we can make it better. I think, that has to be an all the time thing today. It's not just here's we'll do a little bit of market research a couple years. You have to constantly be listening and constantly be, improving and reacting to the stuff that's going on in the technology market. You probably know it better than me. This market moves so quickly, if you're not really paying attention, you can find yourself pretty badly out of date pretty fast.
And that's one thing I really like about the time in which we live in, where consumers and users can give you real-time feedback, especially with social media, email. Back in the days, man, I remember trying to just get in contact with companies. You had to call, you have to write, be on hold. Now with social media, you send an email or a tweet, boom, is being answered and everything. And what has been your fondest memory of being with IK Multimedia? You've been there for a while, so what's been your fondest memory over the years?
That's a good question. There's been quite a few. Just as a musician myself, having the opportunity to meet and show our software to some guitar players who were personal heroes of mine, inspirations to me when I picked up the instrument, that's really cool. I've been fortunate to visit some of our brand partners that I mentioned before, like Mesa Boogie, and get a tour of their factory and listen to them talk about how they create these amplifiers and effects, and if you're a musician, you love the music and you love the people creating the music. You also can have a lot of affection for the gear, especially the gear that that you came up using. Like you talked about, the first time you got access to all those keyboards. That's a thing that you remember, you have a lot of affection for. So, getting to see the people behind these brands, the people who were, creating these things that were inspiring me when I was younger, when I was a musician, and then talking to fans who are, people who were saying, oh, and we were inspired by what you've done. I think that's that's just a super cool process. We were inspired by all these great brands. We tried to create some technology that made it accessible. Now we get to talk to people who were inspired by what we do. That's an awesome place to be, I think. And it's a great way to run a business, is to just be doing something that you're passionate about and helping other people be passionate about that same thing.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I would be derelict in my duties if I didn't ask you, being an axe man yourself, what are some of your favorite axe players out there who do it for you?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was super inspired by most of like the sort of the guitar icons. I mean, big fan of Eddie Van Halen, Joe Satriani, but then as you get older, you also start to listen back. I started to get more into some of them, Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, these guys. So, if you're a musician, you love listening to everybody. You find inspiration everywhere else. But, we've been really fortunate that I've gotten to meet a few of and talk to a few of the guys who really inspired me. So that's super cool.
That's awesome. Dan, you're living a dream with that job, my man, being a musician and also being a part of a company that's continuing to be jet setters and innovation when it comes to enhancing the lives of the musicians out there. That's pretty awesome. So if one would like to find out more information about IK Multimedia again, how can they go about doing that and check out some of these great products?
Sure. The easiest place is just www.ikmultimedia.com, or you can hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at IKMultimedia.
Awesome. Dan, great talking to you, my friend. Look forward to catching up with you later on in the year, and we'll see how things are going, man. And if you got some more,
we'll have some more cool stuff to show you later in the year too. So.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Lots of good things coming.
That's what I'm talking about. Cool. A huge shout out to Dan Boatman for joining me here on the Tech Zone, and our good friends over there at IK Multimedia. I use a number of their products. They have some great pieces of innovation, from the audio production world to the video accessories and the apps, and they're just an amazing company out there. So make sure you go and check them out. All right, when we get back, just some earth-shattering information when it comes to the gaming world, and I'm going to talk about that coming up after the break, and I may be joined by one of my experts in the field, one of my good friends out there too, and get his take on it. So we'll be right back here with more Tech Zone. I'm Paul Amadeus Lane. Take care, folks. Be right back after these messages.
In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the Tech Zone.